We have a chilly, rainy day here in Richmond, and I was going to actually take a drive today. There's Avery. To return some darkroom implements to my friend that came and helped me with my pinhole workshop a week or so ago, but then it's we decided to postpone it. I was thinking about bringing Avery along and we could, walk her and stuff, but it's about an hour up the highway, and I didn't really want to get on the road with crazy drivers on a rainy day. So I'm sitting here actually not feeling real well today, just a little under the weather, and so I was trying to figure out how to use my time since it is rainy, and I thought, well, I could make a little vlog. I haven't done that for a while, and I can show you some of the creative things I've been working on lately. And I'll start, I actually posted a picture on Facebook, but I will start by showing you my buckwheat spirals that I have planted out back. And I got the idea because I had accidentally dropped a line of buckwheat seed when I was carrying some out front in a container that had a hole in it. There's my, that's one of my hickories. Anyway, so see the spirals down there? Those are made with buckwheat seed. And there's more that didn't come up over there, and you might not, the contrast is kind of low with this right now, but I'm hoping you can see that. I just thought I'd do it for fun. I thought we would use it during the workshop, but it would have been too shady back there for the people to make their paint can pinholes, and it hadn't grown by that time yet. I thought it would grow within a week. It's closer to 2 weeks, especially since we weren't getting a lot of rain at the time. So it's a really easy thing to do. Just get buckwheat seed from a feed store and just put it in the shape you want and water. And of course, I guess if you have a pristine lawn, you might not be interested in doing that. But I think they're going to come take my stumps out today. Here's my little skeleton on the porch. I got a little ceramic pumpkin too. I still need to get some things. I haven't put up an ofrenda yet. I was thinking I might do that either downstairs or here on the dining room table. And speaking of the dining room table, I finally finished my runner that I had done the botanical photograms and the what do you call them, paper cuts that I used with the cyanotype and then T-toned them, and then I embroidered around that pattern and this one and the similar one on the other side, and then I stitched them together because there were 3 panels, because I knew it would be too hard to do the photogram on one big huge long one, and then I stitched all along the edges. So that took a little while, but I'm pleased with the result. So that was a creative project, and I'll tell you a little bit about the photographic work I'm doing right now. What we used for the pinhole workshop were trying to tell if I can't tell how much I'm in the frame or not. It's always my problem. I ended up making the cameras using the paint can, and I just used a sewing needle in a little hand vise and just tap the holes. I could have made a better hole, I suppose, if I had used the what do you call it? The bit, but I couldn't do it with my hand. And if you have a Dremel, that's probably easier. But so we made negatives and we made some threads. And the negatives end up looking like that. And you can scan them and then invert them if you want to do it that way. Or if you have photographic paper and a light source, you could make a print using a paper negative. But these are what's fun. This is direct to positive paper. Let's see if I can get you so you can see that. Here's my skeleton out front, and here's my little doop doop. There he is. My little wooden guy. And these were made in the paint can using this paper. It's called Direct Positive. So even if you don't have like an enlarger, you can still do stuff if you have a room that you can make light safe. And it's not, if you're doing paper, it doesn't have to be as light safe as if, like when I load my film, I have to actually go in a closet where there's zero light. In a dark room, you have red light. And if there's a tiny bit of light coming in under like a door frame, it's, as long as you have most of the paper sort of away from that, you're fine. And then, so I had to set up developer, stop bath, fixer, and a tank for a holding tank with water, and then wash it in the bathroom. So after I broke everything down, after the workshop, I started thinking about lumen prints, which I had been wanting to make for some time and never did it. And I had all this RC paper, which is resin coated paper, and I decided to put a bunch of it together. I have the pictures on Facebook, I think. Put it together and make like this whole pattern with the Japanese maple. And so that's just one section of, I think I used 9 pieces of this paper to make a larger one. But I didn't wash, I mustn't have washed it properly or something, because it's coloring really weird. And I didn't use any wash aid on it. Now, the subsequent ones I made, I really, well, let me backtrack. I've thought about how do you present something like the lumen prints. Well, you could map them and frame them, but the same way I like to create these larger landscapes with my cyanotypes using botanical material and different things like that. I was thinking, well, it'd be fun to do with the lumen prints as well, rather than using giant pieces of paper, which tend to be a little bit more expensive, I think. Getting the smaller packs of paper and exposing them in sort of like a grid and creating almost like a puzzle thingy with it. So I was thinking, well, you could map them and frame them, and then I thought, well, maybe you could do encaustic, which I haven't learned yet, but I would like to learn encaustic with the wax over it and mounting it to a wood board. So I read that resin-coated paper isn't good because the resin-coated stuff, it's more plasticky and it won't stand up to the heat, but that fiber-based paper you could use. So as it so happened, I ordered some fiber-based paper, and then I realized, oh, I should look in my darkroom box. I have my enlarger box, which I haven't set my enlarger up yet. And lo and behold, I actually had some paper. I have just some regular Ilford multigrade fiber-based paper. And then I had the warm tone paper, which I always like to use the warm tone paper for my black and white photographs because I like the warmer tones, not such a cold black and white. But when you make the lumens, even though you're using black and white paper, when you expose them to the UV light of the sun, you don't actually put them through developer. You put them just in fixer. So if you didn't have a darkroom set up, you didn't have everything from a darkroom set up, you could still do this if you could create a light tight space in a bathroom or something like that, and you would just need a tank meaning the tray, for the fixer solution, for water, and then at that point, once it's gone through the fixer and it's in the water, it's light safe. But then, especially if you're using fiber-based paper, you need a wash aid, which we used to call it HypoClear. But you can get all these things from B&H online. So you expose the paper, the photographic paper, the same way you would expose for a cyanotype. But you have to, when you set it up, you have to be under red light. So and you can get the red light bulbs from B&H too. They're not that expensive. So you set it up. I have a like a big, huge clipboard thingy, and I put the paper on that, and then I put, in this case, my botanical materials. You could. I haven't tried. I'll probably experiment trying to use some of my negatives as well. But you put the botanicals on there. You cover it with. I've got these bigger pieces of plexiglass, and you leave it in the sun. And you can leave it in the sun anywhere from. My wrist is hurting from carrying any wood. I gotta be careful about that. Anywhere from like 30 minutes to a number of hours. And this one was like for 30 minutes. So it's light colors. But the lumens I had left for, they were probably more along the lines of 3 hours at least. And so these are camellias. These are some camellias I picked, and I'm not sure how well this is going to pick it up because these got very almost translucent, and so this was the regular photographic paper, and it's got like grayish blue in it. It's got like the pinky purple, and then almost a little bit yellowish in some areas. And also the moisture from the botanical material will react with the paper too and give you these interesting kind of like halo effects. And then this one that I did with oak leaves, and I have to put this one together because this one was in a grid. Oak leaves and a slice of apple in the center. It's funny because I looked at this for some time and I kept thinking, what does this remind me of? This reminds me of something, and I realized it reminded me of my Polish woodcut sunflower. Let's see if I can set this up here so you can get an idea. Again, I had posted this on my my Facebook, both my art Facebook page and the my regular Facebook. So, that's interesting. Expose all the way to the end. I don't know why that happened. But I look at it now and I see that. Also, that I'm also monitoring to see how the color, if the color changes. It shouldn't change that much because it's been fixed and everything else. But I'm going to bring this over so you can get a better sense of this one, and I'll try to get it so that you don't have too much of the, you have a lot of glare from that light. Which way do I need to go here? Sorry. Maybe you can see it this way a little bit better. So that's that one. And I really like that one quite a lot. Oops. Sorry. Trying to fix this a little bit. Okay. And then I did a couple more. And also once you have to fix it, and you keep it in the water, and then you do the wash aid, and then you have to like wash it a few times and let the water run. And then I did a couple more the other day just because I was out in my backyard and I saw these funky little mushrooms growing. So, so I did this one. And this was like a late blooming rhododendron. Here, I'm seeing those. Doop, doop, there we go. Let's take this over this way. And I'm really pleased with the color that the warm tone paper gave. Now I don't know, I'm not sure how archival the colors are. I haven't investigated that, but again, that's just using the Ilford paper. So that's kind of an easy, another easy project to do. I hope to expand on that. I'm thinking about expanding on my theme of Baba Yaga's house and Baba Yaga's garden, using all my different photographic modalities, whether they're the cyanotypes or the lumens or my pinholes, and even some of my digitals are pretty nice too. So that's what I've been up to. But now that the sun is gone, I can't do any for a couple of days, but that's all right. Yeah, so I encourage everyone to experiment with different things. That's what I do. That's what's fun for me anyway. So I hope you're all doing well. And it's almost Samhain, or Halloween, and All Saints Day, and All Souls Day. So I might do an ofrenda down here on this table. I'm thinking I'll probably do it down here, or up on my dining room table where I just put the new runner down. And other than that, I hope you're all doing well. I continue to process my life. I had some good insights recently, had some good discussions with my counselor. I'm going to go have a Reiki session with a local practitioner who is also, she's also a counselor. And my regular counselor recommended that because we were finding that when I was bringing stuff up, it was like really, it's my reactions to current things, current situations and issues in my life. It has really, the reactions are exacerbated, exaggerated, made to be more than what actually is going on, which is deeper and longer ago. And after a discussion with another friend the other day, I got to thinking about certain aspects of what it was probably like for me in utero. I think about my own perception of my physical well-being, my body, and these different issues that I have, whether it's with menopause or energy in general, or anxiety or pain. And I had this insight that I was the last of 5 children, but before my mother had me, she had 3 miscarriages. She had been ill and had 3 miscarriages. And also by the time she had me, she was, well, 42 doesn't sound old now, but in the late 50s, that was kind of old to be having kids, unless you were somebody who was from a Catholic family and had lots of kids. But I wondered about her own anxiety and her thoughts about me, and any of the messaging I may have gotten in my childhood about, you know, coming through after her being sick, you know, or, you know, wondering whether I was going to make it, and how on a subconscious level some of these things might have affected my own perception of my bodily strength and vitality. So that's also something I want to investigate. So anyhow, that's about it. I've rambled on long enough. I hope you're all doing well, and we'll talk soon. Bye.